Can get the lights for you?
Sure, yeah, we can turn the lights off. And before I start this presentation, last week was canceled. They had a change in personnel at the police department, so our original speaker was doing a different duty, and so the new one wasn't prepared yet for the presentation. So we have rescheduled the Internet and Cell Phone Safety class. It will be on Tuesday, April 30th. So Miss Howard and Miss O'Neill were going to do a session that day on your child's behavior, but we're going to reschedule it and do the Internet and Cell Phone Safety that day because it is someone from the police department, and they're going to be very familiar with some ways we can keep our kids safe online and on cell phones. So today we are going to talk about how to prepare for the CRCT. It is coming up in just a couple weeks, and it's a perfect time for parents to work with teachers and students in order to let them succeed on the test. So we're going to start at the roots, or the foundation. What is the CRCT? It's multiple choice tests that is given to, in the elementary school grades, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. It helps us know what the student has retained from the year, what they learned from the beginning of the 3rd grade year to the end of the 3rd grade year. It's the set of standards that we're teaching in Georgia and now all over the United States, the Common Core standards. So it's just kind of a profile of how we are doing in our classrooms. Here are the important dates, and they are on your yellow piece of paper. April 10th is our first day of testing. It is the week we come back from spring break. It's a Tuesday, I believe, and the first day is going to be reading. The next day is the 11th, which is language arts, so your grammar, most of your grammar skills are on that day. We're going to skip a week, so Thursday, Friday, we're going to practice some more, and then coming back April 16th, 17th, and 18th, we're going to have the test in math, and social studies, and then science. And they are in the mornings, so something that I have on here is to make sure you get your child to school on time, have a good breakfast, and I'll just reiterate that just because it's so important. Some ways that you can start helping at home. Just talk about the test. It's not supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be a way that the students can showcase what they have learned throughout the year. It's their time to shine. And so remind your children that they do know and they have learned all of this information. When you talk about the test-taking strategies with your children, then they are better prepared because they're hearing it not only from their teachers, but from you also. So that helps them realize, oh, this test is super important because I'm hearing it from all angles. It's also going to get your child feeling prepared and ready to go in and tackle the CRCT. Here are some test-taking strategies that teachers go through with their classes, and so I would recommend talking about these at home also. I'm going to blow it up a little bit. Zoom in. Woo! Alright. One of the most important ones is this. Follow the directions carefully. So many children go into the test and they're so nervous or they just want to get over it, and so they completely skip over the directions. And those are the most important things that they need to read because that's how they're going to answer all the questions. If they don't know what to do, then they're not going to do it correctly. So make sure that they know to follow the directions very carefully. And it may seem obvious, but read the question before you look at the answers. Seems like it's going in steps. So after you read the question, make sure your student, your child knows to read all of the answer choices before choosing the answer. Even if they think that the best choice is the very first choice, there might be a choice that's even better. So they need to read A, B, C, and D. There are some cases where there are 3 sentences talking about a reading comprehension passage. Maybe they're talking about a character. What qualities does the character have? Nice, funny, mean, and then the last one is A and B. So they would choose A and B because the character had those two qualities. If they just chose A, well, the character was nice, but was also funny. So there is a best answer that they're going to need to choose. The student should try to eliminate the answers that they know are not correct. Some of them are just thrown in there to make the child be like, whoa, I don't know about that. So if he knows that there is an answer that is wrong, slash it. We tell them to slash the trash. It's just one of those little cute things that the kids remember. So if they can do the process of elimination and get down to 2 or even 1 answer, then they're going to be in a good place. This statement right here, I remember my counselors in 3rd grade telling me this. So this is how important it is. Don't keep changing your answer. Your first choice is usually right. It's the whole gut instinct saying. If you go for that first choice, then it is probably the best answer. And sometimes kids think and rethink and rethink just because they're so nervous about it. Most of the time, their very first choice or the very first thought that popped into their head is going to be the right one. Especially if they have gone through, really read the directions carefully, all of the answers, done everything that they were supposed to, then their first instinct is going to be right. Avoid careless errors. This is especially important in math, where the students might mess up their basic addition skills or multiplication just because they're going a little bit too quickly. So make sure that they review their work, go back and double check, and take their time. They do have plenty of time to get through it, so as long as they are working diligently, then they should be good to go. All right, some important things that you can do at home. Number 1 is read. I mean, that goes back to everything. If you are reading with your children all the time, you are hearing them read, they are hearing you read, they're just getting prepared to read at school. And they're learning new words, they're becoming familiar with using context clues to be able to figure out something that they don't understand. And they're able to start to comprehend the stories better if you read with them a lot. So, I mean, that goes without saying that we should be reading all the time with our children. Like I said before, talk about the test. Don't let it be something that's secret or scary that you don't talk about. Talk about it with them. Be open. Remind them that they're going to be bubbling in their answers, so they need to be neat. It needs to be a dark bubble inside the circle. And they're going to be choosing from multiple answers. It's not going to be right there in front of them. They're going to have to be using their brains, and they're going to have to use what they remember from throughout the year to choose the best answer. There are 3 websites that you can get on to look at some of the learning tasks, and I'm going to show those to you. They are listed on your yellow piece of paper in the bottom left. The first one is the GeorgiaDOE.org. And this is the Georgia Department of Education. So everything for the state of Georgia is on this website. There's even a part down at the bottom just for parents. So pretty much anything that you have questions about schooling in Georgia, you can go here to search for it. What I have done is gone to the top box where it says search this site, and I just typed in CRCT. They have a lot of resources on here that will help you out in preparing at home. The very first one that pops up, there's a lot of different links that you can choose from, but I clicked on the first link, And it gives you a lot of answers to frequently asked questions. What is the purpose of the CRCT? What areas and grade levels are tested? When was it implemented? Etc. But what I want to show you is over on this side under helpful resources. This one, the third one down, student guides. This is going to be something that will be helpful if you have internet access at home. If you don't, we can talk about that also. These are different study guides for the different grade levels. So 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. I'm going to click on the study guide for 5th grade, but you can choose whichever grade you need. And you'll see that it's a huge document. There's 111 pages in there, but it's for every single content area that's tested. So it has information about the reading, the language arts, the math, the science, and the social studies CRCT. The first few pages are just kind of the nitty-gritty, what exactly you and your child can expect on the CRCT. How to use the study guide, an overview of it, test preparation, what to do before and during the test, and then it gets down to the contents of each test. So right here, this is 5th grade. In 5th grade, they're going to be, for their 5th grade reading test, there's going to be 3 standards that they're really going to be hitting on. The reading skills and vocabulary, the literary comprehension, and information and media literacy. So those are the 3 big ideas for the reading CRCT. They also go on to have activities for each of those strands. So here are activities that you can do at home to enforce the reading skills and vocabulary. This is words with multiple meanings, so they just have an idea of how you can come up with 2 sentences for the word run, just really talking about different words that have a lot of meanings and practicing at home. And it also has, those are all activities for the different areas. This is a great one that I would recommend you practicing at home, a practice quiz. So right here, this is a reading passage for 5th grade. This is going to be very similar. Sometimes they even use reading passages from previous year CRCTs just to give the real feeling of it. So you can have your child practice reading this, and then they have questions to go over the different stories that you just read. So this one is talking about summarizing, and you'll see that they're not one-word answer choices. I mean, they're going to really have to take their time and read through it, read the question, read all of the answers, go back, rethink, and choose the best choice. And in their classes, I know that most classes have already started preparing the students for the CRCT, so they're talking about how to go back into the story, find keywords, underline important phrases, and use that detective work to find the correct answer. So they're definitely getting prepared in class, but it will be nice to have the preparation at home also. After all, there's usually, it's I think 10 questions for each of the practice tests, but then it also has the answer keys and an explanation of why that answer was correct. So they have these in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade for all 5 of the standards, the subject areas that are being tested. So this is language arts, verb tense they'll have to go through. You have math, science, and social studies. So this I would recommend doing over spring break just so that you don't lose touch with the schoolwork during that time. Just maybe 1 or 2 questions each night wouldn't be bad. It's better than nothing. That is the Georgia, the GADOE.org. Another, oh, I'm not on that one. The second one is called Triumph Learning Tasks. And I can't show you everything because I don't have what needs to be installed on here, but your students are using this new website that we just got the license to in class, and you can also use it at home. You have to download Microsoft Silverlight, which I'm not able to install, but it was just a pop-up when I was trying to open it. So if you try this at home and you don't have the Silverlight already installed, then you will be able to do it. I just don't have the rights to do that. So Triumph Learning, it's triumphonline.com, and you'll come to the homepage which has the username and password. And your children are in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, so they have agendas, and inside their agendas they should have a username that's about 5 or 6 numbers, and then their password. That is the exact same username and password that you put into this. So if they don't have it in their agendas, they can ask their teacher, or you can ask their teacher, because their teacher has a master list. I'm going to log on as a teacher and see if I can show you what it looks like a little bit inside. So when your child logs onto this, they're going to have a page that looks more like just this tab with the assignments on it. And the teachers are able to choose assignments from, here's grade 3. So this is the standard reading literature and all of these different strands that go along with it. And we are able to choose from all of these practice books. So there's tons of practice that your teacher has assigned to the children that they are practicing at school, and they can practice at home also. And so here's where I don't think that I can pull it up because it's not on my computer. This lesson would be on reading myths and fables. So if you know that your child struggles with some area, you can go through and look for something just to reinforce it. Let's see if I can view it. Yeah. So it will pop up, and what it is, it's just a reading passage very similar to what we saw on the Georgia Department of Education website, but they have where you can click on the computer that answers, and sometimes if it asks for a summary, then they will be required to type in a summary. The multiple choice answers are automatically graded, which is nice because they would get feedback right away, but any of the short answer responses have to be sent to the teacher, and the teacher will grade them. But I know that a lot of the classes are getting into this, and this is something new that Cumming Elementary has this year. The last one is Georgia OAS website, and this is pretty much a go-to that our students and teachers use. It's www.georgiaoas.org. And this is through the Georgia Department of Education also. And on your yellow sheet of paper, there is, on the bottom left where all the websites are, where it says grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, the logins are generic. So all of the logins for grade 3 will be grade 3. So if your child is in 3rd grade, oh, sorry, pins. If your child is in 3rd grade and needs to practice the 3rd grade standards, then the login is grade 3, and the password is the exact same thing, grade 3. Fourth grade students, guess what? Your login is grade 4, password grade 4. 5th grade, grade 5, password grade 5. And this is another website that the students have used at school, but is also good for use at home. What they can do is go in here, and all the tests are going to be under View Student Tests. And they have the 5 subjects that they'll be tested in. They can click on the subject that they want to test, and there are these tests that show up. And these are also previous CRCTs different passages and questions that have been pulled to be put onto this for extra practice. So they would just click on the test that they want to take test, and it pulls up with the question and the answer. So they're able to read through, solve, and when you choose the answer right now, it doesn't immediately say if you got it right or wrong, but when you go through and answer all of the questions, after reading them carefully, following directions, and making sure you're not rushing through, then they will give you a summary of what happened, of what you got correct and what you didn't. So I'm trying to get to that point right now. Some of them are tricky. We have words in there like estimate, which throws the kids off a lot. So it would be nice to hear the parents' take on what it means to find the best estimate and, you know, compare it with the teacher, and just another way to reinforce. So here I am. I'm on number 8. That's the last one. Grade my test. This is how they can double check that they answered all the questions. I got 8 questions answered out of 8 total. None of them were not answered. And I got a 25%. So I got 2 correct.
Wow.
It gives you the summary of it. 6 wrong. It took me 1 minute and 16 seconds. And here is where I can go down and look to see what I got correct.
Is the time on there important? Because they're only given so much time. Do we know what their time is?
The time, I think it's 45 minutes, either 45 or 60 per section.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly. I can find out for you. But just as a way, yeah, to keep up with how long they are taking. Because this is 8 questions, and their CRCT will be probably 30 questions in each section. So it'll be a little bit different.
Right.
So the standards are in green. And if you click on the number, that's the question number, you can actually be taken to that question and see again, well, I put that, and that is the correct answer. But if I got something wrong, number 6, well, it says that there is a star next to it. You know, it looks like you would just have to redo them and see. I feel like sometimes they do have the star next to the correct answer, but in this case, obviously they're not right. So it's going to take some going back and looking to see what mistakes that you made. So that is in the Georgia OAS website. And they had the standards for 4th grade and 5th grade also. Now, the CRCT can be a scary test for many students. I have test anxiety myself. Even today, thinking about taking any kind of test, it makes me really anxious. So imagine the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders who are very new to taking tests, and it's so high stakes now. It's very important. So what else you can do at home is just smile. And I love this, the power of positive thinking. That's how I like to live my life. Cut your children's test anxiety by staying calm. Parents, stay calm. Okay? It is important that they do well, but if you are really upset about it and getting worked up about it, then that's going to transfer to your child also. Keep on letting them know that they'll do great. It is their way to let everyone know how much they've learned this year. It's their time to shine. I said this earlier, but it's so important. On the 5 test days, the night before, make sure your child gets to bed early. Don't let them stay up and watch Honey Boo Boo or whatever TV show they want. Get them in bed early so they get a good night's rest. And then in the morning, make sure that they get good breakfast, whether it's at home or at school, because that's going to help them, think the best that they can. Get to school on time, just so that students can ease into the routine. Try not to make doctor's appointments in the morning on those days. They won't be able to be checked out until the test is over, nor will they be able to be checked in. So if they get to school after the test has started, probably 8:30ish, then they're going to have to hang out until 10:30, 11, whenever the test is over. And then they're going to have to make up that test later on and miss time in the classroom. So it's just going to be the best to get to school on time. The results, each standard is based, is scored, and you are given 3 options, 3 performance levels. The student can either meet the standard, does not meet the standard, or exceed the standard. So we're aiming for meeting the standard or exceeding the standard. This information about academic achievement shows our students and classes and schools, the system, and Georgia, how well we're doing and what else we can improve. We use it to identify the strengths and areas of improvements for students. This is important information. In third grade students have to meet or exceed on the reading to be promoted to 4th grade. In 5th grade, they have to meet or exceed in reading and math to be promoted to 6th grade. The test scores usually come out before the end of the year, and we will let y'all know as soon as they come in what the scores are.
Say they don't meet it, what happens?
If they don't meet it, what usually happens is they retake a test in May, and they are given the time to study and have like a one-on-one or one-on-two tutor, depending on how many students do not meet, and they are given the chance to retake the test. And then from there, if it's not met again, then you would have a conference with administration and see what is going to be the best. Yes. Yes. So that is all for this presentation. What I want to say is I know it's a lot of practice that's online, and if you don't have internet access, it might be harder. So I have made copies of the Georgia DOE tests, not all 111 pages, but probably 85 of them. I've used a lot of trees. So if you would rather have a copy, a paper copy of this, then write your name. There's a blue piece of paper over there, and it's columned off to different grade levels. So if you need a 3rd grade copy of this, then write your name, and I'd be happy to run copies and send them home with you. 4th grade, 5th grade, whichever. If you prefer not to do it online or just want a paper copy, then that would be good. And I think that's all for CRCT. Any questions?
The kids are going to take this on a paper copy, right?
Yes, this year it is paper copy, but they are in the future thinking about putting it on the computer. So CRCT test in the future will be online. Yes.
Will they have writing sections? I missed a little bit at the beginning. Do they have a section they have to do any kind of?
Not this year, but that is something else with the whole Common Core.
I'd heard it may be coming. I didn't know if it was this year.
No.
That would be hard to grade.
It would be hard to grade, yes. I think that this year we are assessing on our Common Core standards that we've started teaching this year, opposed to the Georgia Performance Standards, but the CRCT test is going to be the same format, multiple choice, unless I haven't heard something.
I haven't heard anything yet. I just
Yes.
heard through another teacher that it may be changing, so I didn't know if that was effective this year or not.
In the next few years, it will be changing. I think that they will start putting out more essay portions, short answer, and then doing it on the computer, definitely. So we're going somewhere, and we'll be prepared. It'll be good. Yes. Anything else?
So these books here that may help.
Yeah,
Check out the library here, or do we get those?
These books, these are from the Parent Resource Center. I just pulled them because they were different ways you can help in subject areas at home. This is math homework, helping your child to succeed in school, reading and succeeding. I can check them out to you here, or if you want to get them later on after right now, they're going to be in the Parent Resource Center and the Media Center, and you can check them out. They're just a little something extra. Now next week, we are having our nurse Judy come in to do a presentation, and I want your input as what you would like to hear her present about. So I have over here a piece of paper that says, next week, Nurse Judy will be our guest speaker. What information would you like to hear her present? I've made some Post-its that I put on here. There are some green Post-its that I have out also. If you have a subject that you would like to hear her talk related to allergies or nutrition, exercise, first aid, anything that a nurse could give you information on, would you write it on the green sticky note and stick it on here so I can pass that information on to her and she'll be ready to share that with you. And also, if you have not been here before, thank you for coming. If you would fill out a survey for the lunchtime learning, that would be wonderful also. Yes. And that's all. I'm going to turn off my camera.